Hey everybody, this is Stefan Gonick. Welcome to the Ask Me Anything About Attracting Your Soulmate live call here on YouTube. As I said, my name is Stefan Gonick, and I am a soulmate attraction mentor and founder of the Soulmate Attraction Academy from single2soulmate.me. So in this call, I'm going to be answering any questions you may have about attracting your soulmate. I have some questions that have been emailed to me in advance, and I'll be answering them, as well as answering any questions that you guys type into the chat box live. And I'm really looking forward to answering your live questions today. All right. So this is a different stream than the one I originally had planned because it turns out it was a different system. But in any case, first question. This woman writes, "Hi, Stefan. I am 55 years old and divorced for my third time. I'm professional and I'm considered to be young-looking, attractive, and down-to-earth. I really don't socialize much outside of my family circle or close friends. I just divorced in November of 2018 after a 1-year separation and 10 months of marriage. It was a difficult marriage. I feel healed, if not fully, almost fully. My question is, why is it so difficult to attract the right person for me now? I'm not really being approached at all. What are your suggestions?" Well, there's a lot of potential reasons for why you're not being approached and why you're not attracting the kind of person you want to now. That's actually a huge question. On the other hand, if you've been married 3 times, I'm guessing that this didn't used to be the case, that you used to, I mean, again, I can only guess because you didn't tell me what your history was like, but I'm guessing that, it was a lot easier for you to attract men and, have men approach you and things like that. And now it's difficult. So all I can do is give you some potential reasons for that to be happening for you now. One reason is that you've been married 3 times and none of them was worked out. This last one you said was very difficult and it only lasted 10 months. So it must have been pretty bad to end after only 10 months. So even though you feel like you're, let's see, you wrote not, largely, but not almost fully over it, it's very possible there's a part of you that is not as over it as you may be hoping that you are. So there could be a part of you that even though you want to meet somebody new and you feel like it's been a year and you're ready to meet somebody new, there may be another part of you that is feeling gun shy. That's feeling like, I don't want to go through this again, or at least I'm scared of going through the same thing again. 3 marriages not working out. So there could be a part of you that's scared of that possibility of that. Yeah, I might meet another guy. You might be really excited about him, and and then just here we go again, started down the same old path. And when we have mixed feelings like that, we can send out mixed signals. We can have, without even being aware of it. In fact, I have a story of a friend of mine that actually is a long time ago that shows you how powerful this can be without us even realizing it. So this goes way back to college. I had this really good friend, woman friend, and I was living at Berkeley, California, which is this really interesting place to live with a lot of really interesting people. And one day my friend came to me and she said, "There's no interesting men in Berkeley." And I was thinking, like, what could you, where did you come up with that? I mean, there's probably more interesting men in Berkeley than anywhere other place I can think of. It's like there's such a huge, diverse population in Berkeley, California. So I was like, how could you be saying that? So I said that, and she goes, no, I look around me, I look at all the men I see, and I don't find any man appealing. There's no interesting men around here. So we went back and forth a little bit, and I gave up. But then we went to a party that very same weekend, and I was curious about what she would be like at this party. So she was going in with this sort of negative attitude, right? So I decided to just kind of observe her off and on throughout the evening. And one of the things I noticed right away was that she was sending out a subtle but clear stay away from me vibe to men in the room. In general, really, actually, just everybody. It wasn't like super, she wasn't like glaring at everybody, but there was this kind of subtle but clear vibe of like, stay away from me, stay away. And all the guys that I thought were, nice, interesting guys picked up on her sort of keep away vibe, and they kept away. They honored it, right? And the only guys who actually talked to her that night were the ones who were not sensitive to her keep away vibe. So they weren't really sensitive to what signals she was sending out. They just thought that, well, there's an attractive woman, I'm going to go talk to her. And she didn't like any of them. So at the end of the party, we went together, we were walking away together. I went up to her and I said, so how's the party for you? And she goes, I told you there's like no interesting guys. The only guys I talked to all night were jerks. There's no interesting guys around here. And I was like, well, let me tell you what I was observing at this party. So I explained this whole thing about the keep away vibe. So what was happening was her keep away vibe was keeping away the good guys, and the only guys who talked to her were the ones who were disregarding where she was at. So she was actively, without realizing it, filtering out the good guys and just and only interacting with the negative guys. So this can be a very powerful force that we don't even realize is going on. That's why I'm telling you the story of my friend. So it could be, like I said, that there's a part of you that's feeling gun shy, that's feeling scared of going down this, unhappy romantic path again, and therefore sending out these sort of mixed signals, so that consciously you think, I want to meet a new man. I'm hoping some guy will talk to me. And another part of you is going like, stay away. I was like, I don't want, I'm scared to meet somebody and go down that path. So I think that's a pretty likely possibility, I would have to guess, without any other information. There could also be, well, really that's the thing that jumps out at me from your story, I have to say, is that you may not be as over it as you think you are. And the one way you can find out where you're really at is, I'd like you to do an exercise. And this is actually a really cool exercise that everybody can do to kind of get more in touch with where they're at in their sort of soulmate journey. Oh, okay, cool. I just saw the person that, okay, good. The person who sent me the question, looks like she said that may be true. All right. One of the things I was going to say, if you type in your comments, I will read them out loud for everybody to hear, and then I will answer verbally rather than typing something back. Okay, good. Since I have you with me, is there any other factor you'd like to share with me so I can maybe give you a fuller answer? I'm looking down the chat box over here. That's why I'm looking to the side. So if you want to add anything to the story, to your story, and I can see if any other things I can suggest, any other reasons why this could be going on for you. And while I'm waiting for that to happen, let me go ahead and lead this exercise. So the exercise is the following. Hold on a sec. All right. So what I'd like everybody to do is think about all the things you're looking for in your ideal partner, right? Or at least the most important things you're looking for. So everybody just kind of take a moment, close your eyes, and think about, all the things that you would most like to have in your ideal partner. And as soon as you have a clear sense of that, imagine that there's somebody who has all those traits that's standing a few feet in front of you and smiling at you. Okay? So the person has all the traits you're looking for in a partner, standing in front of you, smiling at you. And then notice what you're feeling and thinking in response to that. So just take a moment and just notice it. So what this exercise is designed to do is to bring out anything, well, just bring out all your feelings around meeting a great person, but a potential soulmate. Now, some people may get excited at the idea. They imagine this person with all the things they're looking for in their ideal partner stand in front of them. It's like, yay, great. But for a lot of us, for the most of us really, even if you do have a positive reaction of some sort, you're also likely to have a bunch of negative reactions. So negative reactions will usually show up in the form of fears and negative beliefs. So for instance, negative beliefs, the most common one that usually pops up right away is, as you imagine this amazing person standing in front of you, is this thought, this belief of, what would that person see in me, right? Or another way of putting it is, I don't feel like I'm good enough for that person. So that would be, an example of a negative belief that comes up in reaction to imagining this ideal person standing in front of you. You could also have a whole series of negative beliefs, fears. So we already discussed one negative belief. There could be a whole big list of potential fears that can show up as you're imagining your ideal partner standing in front of you. So there could be fears of starting to get to this person and then them rejecting you or leaving you. So this would be fears around abandonment. Or you might all of a sudden be hit by fears of losing yourself in a relationship with that person. Or you might have fears of being kind of similar, being controlled by that person. Actually, that's not necessarily that similar. Or fear of being engulfed. Or a fear of being hurt in ways that you've been hurt in the past, things like that. So these are the kinds of fears and negative beliefs that then make it hard for us to just relax and be confident and comfortable and interact in this natural, easy way, right? Because if I'm feeling all this fear, then I'm going to be scared, right? I'm going to be anxious. I'm going to be uncomfortable. I'm going to feel awkward and all this stuff. And I might stutter and stumble and I can't think of what to say. And I might even say something really weird where I go, who just said that? That wasn't me, you just end up like shooting yourself in the foot. Let's see. I have a question. So the first person whose question I was answering, you might want to see if any of that may be a part of the picture as well. And let's say I also see a new question here. It says, any tips on telling the truth about what you really want? I've tapped on self-worth issues and not believing what I want is possible. But is there something else going on? I feel I play small. Okay, I feel I play small is a biggie right there. So when you say anything else that might be going on, that's a great clue. I feel like I play small. So why do we play small, right? Well, it's going to be actually exactly the things I was just talking about. So if I feel like I'm not good enough for my ideal partner, if I imagine all the things I want in a partner and then I meet somebody with all those things, I may very well not feel good enough for somebody that good, right? Like, who am I to be with that person? Something like that, And then I will tend to shrink and play small. So it's going to be, I've already answered the question with all the stuff I just said before. These fears that we have can cause us to play small, cause us to hold back, cause us to protect ourselves, to guard ourselves from being hurt, from being scared, from all sorts of stuff. Any fears we have around intimacy will also show up when we meet somebody really good. This is one of these sort of sadly ironic things, actually. And that is any fears so check this out. Any fears we have around intimacy. So it's not necessarily a fear about our ideal partner per se. It's just fears we have around intimacy from all the experiences we had growing up as a child, which is where we first encountered intimacy, right? With our parents and our siblings. Those were our original close, intimate relationships, such as they were, right? Painful experiences in childhood can cause us to end up as adults with fears around intimacy. Now, here's this sad, ironic sort of paradox, and that is the better quality of the person I meet. So if I meet somebody who seems really amazing, somebody who has everything I'm looking for in a partner, that means that there's the greatest possible potential of having a really good, close, intimate relationship with that person, right? They are everything I'm looking for in a partner. Therefore, all of my fears around intimacy is going to get triggered the strongest. If I meet somebody who's sort of so-so, it's like, oh yeah, she seems nice. She's, she's nice looking, nice person. It's nice, everything's nice. She's not seem great. She just seems nice. Then the chances of having a really deeply intimate relationship are lower. And therefore, my fears around being really intimate won't get triggered very strongly. So the better the person, the more strongly our fears can get triggered. That's why it's sadly ironic, because you would think, on the one, logically speaking, if I meet somebody who's really great, I'm probably not going to encounter the painful things I did growing up, right? But that's our mind talking. The little kid inside of me is like, I don't want to be hurt in the same way that I was with my mom or my dad or my siblings or whatever, by being close. My childhood taught me that closeness can be dangerous, can be painful. So if I meet somebody great, then there's great potential for closeness, and scary. So that's the way it works for most of us. So the solution to that, the solution to that is to heal some of these original experiences so the closeness and intimacy stops being so scary. If our fear of closeness and intimacy is too intense, it will make it extremely hard to get together with somebody really good. In fact, even if we manage to get together with somebody good, we'll have such a big wall up to protect ourselves from that fear that we'll never let them get very close. It'll be very limiting on the closeness and intimacy we can experience with that person. And if the fears are too strong, we just can't even go there. Can't get together with that person at all. Let's see. Okay, this person wrote a follow-up. I also meant I play small around even saying what I want with trusted loved ones. Yes. Fear and embarrassment keeps me from celebrating what I want. So, and actually, this person said, I've tapped on self-worth issues and not believing what I want is possible. So the chances are, from what you're saying so far, so first of all, if I'm afraid that what I want is not possible, then I'm going to feel defeated in advance. And it's going to make me less likely to be able to say what I want. It's like, well, what's the point of saying it? I'm not going to get it, right? In fact, saying it and not getting it almost feels worse. Because it's like I'm saying it means I'm putting it out there. And if I feel like it's not possible to have it, then that just makes it that much more painful. So whatever made you believe that it was not possible to have what you want would be important to address. As well as, it says, fear and embarrassment keeps me from celebrating what I want. So again, there's going to be something that happened to you growing up that caused you to be scared around trying to have what you want and making you feel in advance like it's not possible. Maybe you were attacked by family members when you really try to go for what you wanted. Maybe there's all this sibling rivalry. This happens sometimes in families where the kids in the family will have such intense sibling rivalry that when one person starts to do well, the other ones will attack and try and bring him back down. That can cause us to be scared to be successful as an adult. That's just an example. So I don't know what it was that caused you to feel fear and embarrassment around celebrating what you want, but there is something that caused that. You weren't born feeling that way. You don't deserve to feel that way. There was things that happened to you, most likely growing up, that caused you to feel embarrassed about what you want, to feel like it's not possible to get it, to be afraid to even voice it, right? So there's the pain of not getting it after you're voicing it, but you may have actually experienced things as a child where even just saying what you wanted got you slammed down. I've had clients where that was the case. When they tried to tell their mother what they wanted, the mother would get upset at them for asking. And the message there is it's not okay for you to ask for what you want. And then that makes it feel like it's not even okay to want what we want, right? And then that can create all that stuff that you were just talking about. Okay, and a follow-up from the first question about the 3 divorces, she writes, I think that my problem was that I didn't put myself first, and I'm trying to please my partner. So, yes. So then the question becomes, the obvious answer is, well, you need to learn to put yourself first, right? But of course, we know what we need to do, but it's usually really hard for us to do it. So the question then becomes, who trained you to put your partner first to the exclusion of yourself? Because really we want it to be, not me versus you. Or either I put my attention on you or I put my attention on me, either or. But I want it to be mutual, right? I like to certainly give you good attention, but I also want to give myself good attention and value us equally, right? That's what we want in a healthy relationship, is for both people to give equal attention to both people, to value both people. Like what I want is just as important as what you want, and what you want is just as important as what I want. And let's see how we can satisfy both people, right? Address both of our wants. A lot of us gets trained for different reasons to go to one extreme or the other. There's some people that become very self-centered. It's like, well, it's all about what I want. I don't care what you want. I don't even notice what you want, right? So there's that. That's not a healthy, happy way to do a relationship. And then there's a lot of us who do go the other way, other extreme, which is, okay, I just put this other person first completely. Don't worry about me. I'm just going to try and please the other person, please the person, please that person. And that creates great resentment. Even if the other person didn't even ask for that. We can sometimes come to the relationship with that pattern already in us. In fact, usually that is how it works. And we can be doing that even if the person didn't ask for it, even if they don't even want it. We can do that. And then that basically causes us to sabotage ourselves, because then we will inevitably get resentful. If I'm putting my needs aside and trying to just please you and take care of you, after a while, that's going to feel pretty bad to me, right? It's like, well, what about me? When do my needs ever get met, right? And I'm going to end up feeling very resentful, and that's also going to cause problems in the relationship or marriage. But then the question goes back, where did this start, right? Because just consciously choosing to change that is usually really hard. We got trained into it in some way. And there's a few different ways it can happen. So if you're female, lots of times young girls are just trained to do that. It's selfish to think of yourself. You should think about others. Don't think about yourself. So there's a very, overt, direct training for little girls to do that. Okay. So that's one potential source, and that can be healed. Another potential source is when we have parents that are judgmental or critical, which is a form of rejecting energy, right? If I'm being judgmental or critical, that means I'm telling you that this part of you that I'm judging or criticizing right now, this part of you is not okay with me. So that's a rejecting energy. Or a parent who's very angry, which is rejecting in a bigger way, right? When we have a parent, or a parent who's just emotionally very distant, that's another form of indirect rejection, right? I'm just not that interested in you as my child. I'm not interested in giving you a lot of attention. If we have a rejecting parent in any form, we will lots of times become very oriented to trying to please that parent, to try and win their love, right? So we will bend over backwards to try and please the parent in the hopes of, please, I want some loving attention. And lots of times it doesn't work very well, but we get stuck in that mode, right? Because it seems like the best option we have available to us as a young child. And that's the kind of thing that can kind of put that pattern in place, where we just do that in every relationship. More comments showing up here. We bring that pattern to all of our relationships. So what we need to do to break out of that pattern is go back and heal the original experience that caused us to take on that behavior, right? So if any of those examples I gave you, a critical, judgmental parent, we have to heal some representative memories of being criticized and judged. And if we had an angry parent, again, heal representative memories of having that parent get really angry and yell at us, stuff like that, or a distant parent, any of those things. Now, there's ways to do that healing process, but I just want to let you know that is truly the ultimate solution to change in our patterns, because even though it can be very obvious to our minds, our conscious mind, what we need to do differently, when we're in a relationship, in the heat of the moment, we fall back on our childhood training, right? We're not able to very easily override it with our conscious intention, right? It's our conscious awareness and intention is not strong enough. afterwards we look back and go, oh, dang it, I was supposed to put me first. I'm supposed to put attention to myself. And again, I didn't do it, right? It's like, it's because it's so entrenched from our childhood. So thinking our way out of it, unfortunately, just doesn't work. We have to do the healing. The cool thing is it doesn't take that long to do the healing if you do it in a good way. Regular therapy, that can take very long, actually, but with using something like an EFT, it doesn't have to be long at all. It can be very quick. Let's see. So that same person wrote, that's interesting. My mom, although loving, was quite critical of me. Thanks for your answer. All right, so bing, looks like we got it. We hit it on the head there. And another person writes, just watched you for 2 minutes. I agree with you from my experience. Okay, good. So at this point, I'm not quite sure which thing I said that you're agreeing with, but I'm glad. All right. So I'm available for more questions, and I have a few more that were sent to me on a piece of paper. And let's see. So I don't see another question live yet, so I'm going to go ahead and answer this one. Okay, how do I know that I have truly shaken off the attraction to wrong partners? I have worked for years on my inner child daddy issues, but nothing seems to change in my love life. So what this person is referring to, for those of you who have read my free mini course, The 3 Secrets to Attracting Amazing Love, which if you haven't, I encourage you to do it. In the description of this video, actually, sorry, not in the description of this video, at my website at singletosoulmate.me, you can sign up to get my free mini course called The 3 Secrets to Attracting Amazing Love, where I talk about the 3 key blocks to attracting amazing love and what you can do about it so that you can finally be with your soulmate. And that first block is being powerfully subconsciously attracted to the wrong people. All right. Oh, the person said, I agree with what you said about parental negativity being rejecting. And what is EFT? Oh, okay. Good question. So let me just answer that question real quick, and I'll talk about these 3 key blocks. EFT stands for the Emotional Freedom Technique. A lot of people just call it tapping, or EFT for short. And it involves tapping acupuncture points, and these are the ones. Boom, 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 and boom. There's 10 of them. Tap on the same 10 points for everything you're working with. And you basically, the idea behind EFT is that it's a tool that you can either use by yourself or with a practitioner that is really amazing in its ability to rapidly release negative emotions. So you can use this in 2 ways. You can either use it to get quick relief from any painful feelings you just happen to be feeling right now in the moment, because maybe something just happened. You just had a fight with your partner and you're really angry, or you're really hurt, or whatever, or both. You can just tap while feeling your feelings, and they will very quickly release. The bigger way you can use it, though, is you can use it to heal pain from painful memories. These are what you can is the root cause memories from your childhood that created your patterns, created the issues you have in your adult life. And one of the issues we have, which is the first of the 3 key blocks to finding your soulmate, is this thing I was starting to say, which is to be powerfully, subconsciously attracted to the wrong people. Right? That's the first key block. The second key block are these fears and limiting beliefs that are preventing you, or at least interfering with being with your ideal partner. I talked about that earlier on this call. And the third one is not knowing how to use the law of attraction so that it works in your favor to speed up bringing your soulmate into your life once you've cleared the first 2 blocks, versus the law of attraction working against you and making it harder to meet your soulmate. So that one is, you can use EFT, but there's also other ways to do the law of attraction part of all this, but you very much use EFT for the first 2 blocks. We want to break free from being attracted to the wrong people. So most of you, if you've had a bunch of relationships in your life and you look back over all your relationships, you'll usually notice that there's a pattern. that no matter how different your partners are in various aspects of their personality, there'll be a certain common theme, common thread that they all shared in common that was negative, right? Like I'll give you an example. For me, in my early life, up until my mid-30s, I was powerfully, subconsciously attracted to women with a victim mentality who took no responsibility for anything and blamed me for everything that happened in the relationship, which was very painful to be constantly blamed all the time for everything. And that was my pattern. That was my negative attraction pattern. So I was attracted to women who all had that same trait in common, even though they were very different in other ways. We all tend to do that. We all tend to have our negative attraction patterns that are so powerful and subconscious, we're not even aware that we have them, that it just keeps bringing in the same kind of person over and over again. We keep having the same painful experiences in all of our relationships. Now, sometimes people will flip to the other extreme, right? Like, for instance, let's say, somebody has this pattern of being really angry people, and they become really aware of it, and they go, I vow never to be with another angry person. I'm sick and tired of being with angry people. And then what they'll do is they'll flip to the other extreme, which is equally unhealthy. And they'll get together with this really super meek person, right? And it's like, well, this person is never going to yell at me. It's like, yes, but this person is also spineless and is kind of the opposite extreme. So this powerful negative attraction pattern most of the time will result in us getting together with the same kind of person over and over again, or flip to the other unhealthy extreme, when what we really want is somebody in the healthy middle ground, right? So somebody who's strong, confident, but not angry and abusive, right? So that's what we really want. Is we don't want to be reactive. We don't want to be blindly attracted to a certain kind of person or blindly reactive to the extreme. We want to be in this sort of healthy middle ground. Let's see. I said so many things on my answers. I lost track of where I was going. Darn. All right. Oh, right. this. Okay. So the person said, okay, so how do I know that I've truly shaken off the attraction of the wrong partners? That's what brought all this up, is the idea of being attracted to this negative kind of partner over and over again. What she describes as step 1, which is 3 steps, right? I've worked for years on the inner child daddy issues, but nothing seems to change in my love life. Okay, so the answer to that question is the healing process, when done the right way, is really fast for breaking us out of this pattern. So usually we're attracted to 1, 2, at the most 3 negative traits. I had one really big one that stood out that I was attracted to, this victim mentality thing. And it was only until years later that I found out I had a more subtle second one. So like I said, usually there's like 1 or 2 negative traits that we are attracted to over and over again. And when you use EFT in the correct way, in the right way, it's not just regular EFT, you only have to heal approximately 3 representative memories of that negative trait. So let's say, you had a father with big anger issues that yelled and screamed at you all the time. If you heal 3 representative example memories of being screamed at by your dad when you were a young child, that's all it takes to stop being attracted to people with an anger issue. So that's really quick. But the caveat on that is you have to do it the right way. And I can try and describe what the right way entails, but it's pretty detailed. I'm going to try and do a really quick version of this. And so it may not be fully satisfying, but at least start to give you an idea. There's 3 things you have to do to really heal it. And even to understand my answer, I'd have to give you more developmental psychology background, but let's just see what we can do. The first thing is we want to use EFT to release the pain of that parent's negative trait. So if let's the anger example, if you're being screamed at in great anger, that's really scary and painful, right? So you'd want to tap and release all those painful feelings that you get from being on the receiving end of being screamed at in anger. So that's part 1. Part two is you then have to bring in this empowerment piece where we help our inner child become empowered. Because when we're on the receiving end of a parent's negative trait, it's extremely disempowering. And it's one of the things that keeps us stuck in the pattern, is feeling powerless and helpless. So a really important part of this is to bring in a process that helps that inner child stand up for her or himself and sort of get a sense of power back. So that's part two. And then part three is we want to help our inner child to get the love that was missing in that painful experience. Okay, that's what brings final resolution. Because otherwise, it's that never getting the love that we were needing during these painful experiences that gets us hooked into trying to find someone similar to our parent and try and get that person's love, right? Our inner child has never given up on trying to get our parents' love. And we find other people who also won't love us, and we desperately try and get their love too. So it becomes this vicious cycle that lasts our whole lives. So if you do those three things very completely, those three things, which you can do in one session per memory, and you heal 3 memories, that's typically all it takes. There's a little variation person to person. Sometimes you only need 2, sometimes you can take 4, maybe 5, but 3 is usual. And as you can tell, that's pretty fast, right? It doesn't take a long time. When I originally went to therapy way before EFT, my therapist helped me break out of my pattern of being attracted to women with a victim mentality, but it took 3 years. Now I can help people do it in 3 sessions, or 3 memories, I should say, which is about 3 sessions. So, so the reason why your experiences haven't changed is, my guess is that there's an element of that 3-part process that hasn't been fully resolved. One person said that was very profound guidance. Thank you. Oh, good. I'm very glad you think so, and you're very welcome. If anybody wants to go into more depth, I'd be happy to set up 20-minute discovery sessions with people so I can go into that in a little bit more detail to really get it. It helps if I give examples to really get it and see how that could potentially apply to you. And how it applies to this person is, my guess is, if you've been trying to do that for quite a long time now, and yet you find that you're still attracted to the same people, then one or more of those 3 parts was not done fully. Lots of times that empowerment piece in the middle is the part that's not done fully, or sometimes it's the 3rd part, where it's not, you want to help your inner child get the love that she or he was missing. But sometimes it's hard for the inner child to take that in. That's one of these complications that can show up. And then so we have to help the inner child be able to take in the loving energy. Sometimes you get this catch-22 where I didn't feel love growing up, so now I feel deep down that I don't deserve to be loved. So then when we're trying to help our inner child feel loved, she or he just can't receive it. So then you have to do something about that. So there can be some complications here and there. But it really is true. If you successfully get through those 3 pieces per memory, and you do 3 memories approximately, that's all it takes, and that will do it. So let's see, anybody else? Somebody else said EFT is emotional freedom technique. Yes, exactly. So you guys that are live with me, feel free to chat me your questions. I have 2 more left on my paper here, and we have 12 minutes left on the call. Actually, I got a little bit of a late start, so we'll give it a bit more than 12, say 15 minutes. All right, so the second question, nobody's live. This question says, okay, this is really important. I don't even know what kind of partner I want versus what would be good or fitting for me. In fact, I hardly ever fall in love anymore. I avoid wrong partners and look out for red flags, but I also don't know what the green flags should be for me. Is that a problem in attracting the right partner? Very much so, yes. So if we grew up in an environment where we didn't feel very well loved, if it was a kind of a pretty challenging childhood, so some of us have what I would call a very mixed childhood. There's some really good loving experiences and also some not loving ones, like the person who wrote saying, my mom is loving, but she was also very critical. So that would be a mixed experience. When we have a fair amount of positive experiences, then it's usually pretty easy for us to have a picture of what we want. Kind of like what we want is the good stuff that we had growing up, right? So I want more of that and not the bad stuff, basically, is what it kind of comes down to. Plus some extra stuff that as we get older and wiser and more experienced, we start to add more things like, well, I also want somebody who's got this and this, But basically, if we had good experiences growing up, that makes it a lot easier for us to know what we want in our ideal partner, right? If you grew up in an environment where you didn't have much in the way of good experiences, so it was largely challenging and painful and not a lot of good, then we may not know what good love looks like. We may not have much experience with it. It may be tough to even imagine it. Like, what do I want? Don't know. I don't have much experience with it, right? So that can make it tough. It can make it tough in a lot of ways. It can make it tough for law of attraction. I don't have time in this call to describe what law of attraction is, but part of what it is being very clear of what we're sort of sending out to the universe so that we can then attract it to us. So if we don't know what we're wanting, then we're not sending out any clear signals at all. It also makes it hard for us to identify who we want to be with, like your green flags that you're talking about. It can also be hard to receive something positive. So if we meet somebody who's really nice and loving, and they try and be loving to us, we may block it out because it doesn't feel natural. It can feel wrong even, which is really sad when you think about it, that being treated nice can actually feel wrong or just weird. It's like, what is this person doing? This is so weird. Even though my mind goes, well, this seems like a good thing. It seems like they're doing good things, but just in my heart, it just feels so weird. So I don't know if that's the case for you, but I'm guessing it might be because of what you said, that you don't know what kind of partner you even want. So, and you also wrote, let's see, it's I hardly ever fall in love anymore. Well, interestingly, if you fell in love before, if that was with the that negative attraction thing, it would make sense that, see, here's an interesting situation we can get to. I have this video that talks about this. It's like the favorite video I ever did. It's called The 3 Phases of Dating, Making Sense of the Madness. Because I talk about these 3 blocks, and these 3 blocks, as you work through them, represent the 3 phases you go through in your healing process in your dating and relationship life. So the super quick version is that phase 1 is where we all start, where we have these powerful negative attraction patterns, which sets us up for these very unhealthy, painful relationships. We have fears and limiting beliefs preventing us or interfering with us being with our ideal partner. And then, there's the law of attraction to accelerate meeting our partner once we've cleared everything else. So let's say you work through your negative attraction pattern, you break free of that. No longer attracted to these negative people anymore. Hallelujah, right? So you're not attracted to them anymore, but you're still too afraid to be with your ideal partner. It can leave you in this weird in-between place. It's like, well, now I'm not attracted to them. I'm too scared to be with this great person. So now I'm not really attracted to anybody. Like, wow, that doesn't feel like progress, It actually is. It's just that you're in this in-between place. It can get more complicated than that. So that's why I encourage people to check out that video, The 3 Phases of Dating, Making Sense of the Madness. It's a little bit long. It's 24 minutes long. But it is packed with really cool stuff to help understand, what you could potentially be going through in your dating life. So let's see. Somebody wrote, oh, nothing new here yet. Okay. So moving on to the last question of the questions that were sent in. Again, people, they're on live with me. Feel free to ask me anything you might have. The law of attraction says that, oh, actually, you know what? To answer your second question, so these 3 questions are actually from the same person who's actually asking questions about the 3 phases, really, right? So the first question was about the negative attraction pattern. The second question one other thing I would say, that phase 2 kind of question. So I was talking about sort of having these negative beliefs of not feeling worthy of deserving of love. The other thing that can happen is again, if our fears are too intense, we may we may just not be able to go there. It's like I'm too afraid to seek love anymore. I've stopped being attracted to these people, or at least I'm doing my best to avoid them. I'm too afraid to go there, so I just it all shuts down, right? That's another thing that could be going on for you. On the second question. Third question. The law, excuse me. The law of attraction says that in order to, actually, hold on. The law of attraction says that in order to manifest a desire, one should let it go or put less importance on it. And then she writes it, for instance, Reality Transurfing by Vadim Zeland. I don't know that person. Do you agree? How is this, quote, letting go of a desire in alignment with not giving up hope? I feel that I cannot make peace with the fact of never meeting a good partner, let alone a soulmate. When I think of the possibility of ending up alone or even spending many years single, I get very sad inside. Good. So there's one more question, a live question, but let me answer this one. So talking about this, the law of attraction is a big topic. I'm going to, again, give you kind of a quick answer since I could spend a whole hour on this question. The idea behind the law of attraction is that whatever you put out to the universe, you attract back to yourself. It's a natural process that is just always going on, whether we're consciously trying to do it or we're just being ourselves. The law of attraction is happening all the time. It's just part of life. To try and use it intentionally, you want to try and put out to the universe, you want to be very clear about what you want. Like, this is what I want, and I want to kind of like send it to the universe. And then you supposedly kind of let it go. But this letting go doesn't mean letting go and therefore not caring, letting go and not worrying about it. It's about how you're feeling after you're putting it out, between when you put it out and when it arrives, right? There's going to be some gap between when I put out what I want and getting what I want, right? There's going to be some period in between. Put it out here, I'm going to get it here. What is it going to be like in between? If I put it out and then I go, oh, I hope I get it. I hope I get it. I hope I get it. Oh, maybe I won't get it. And I'm really afraid I'm not going to get it. And I've been alone for so long, and it's going to be such a bummer if getting from here to here is a really long time, and all these negative feelings. Those negative feelings become part of what you're sending out to the universe. So the idea is you want to be sending out just positive feelings, a positive wanting and desire, positive intention, and positive feelings. So the letting it go is more of a relaxation into a happy knowing that it will happen. It's going to come. I don't know exactly when, but it's going to come. Right? So it's not a defeatist, let it go. It's not, let's see, how did you say it? It's not about putting less importance on it. It's kind of a letting go of it's more of a faith. I have faith that this will happen, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to when it happens, whenever that might be. I'm looking forward to it. So it's a positive emotional state of being. And the other thing about the law of attraction is that it's not a passive process. One of the ways the universe works is to give you little subtle nudges to help bring it together. Now, I don't want to spend more time on that because we're nearly at the end of the call. And it turns out I actually have a really cool video on that topic as well. It's called The Right Way to Use the Law of Attraction to Attract Your Soulmate, where I get into some more details about this and talk about how you can actively participate in this time period between putting it out and getting it. There's a way you can be actively involved, and I talk about that in the video. So I know that's a bit of a teaser, but it's like a 10-minute video, so I'd have to spend 10 minutes to describe all that now. So let's see. And this question says, can EFT work on past life issues? Past life as in reincarnation? The answer is absolutely, definitely yes. EFT can be used anytime you can get in touch with emotions. So all you need to be able to do to use EFT on past life experiences is to get in touch with them as if they were current life experiences in the past, right? Now, some people have a very hard time remembering past lives, so they would have a hard time using EFT to heal past life experiences. But if you're able to kind of revisit and get in touch with a painful experience in your past life, you then use EFT in the exact same way that you would use EFT to heal a painful memory from this life. It's identical. So it's very straightforward using EFT in past lives. The only challenging part is just remembering what happened in that past life. So other than that, super, super straightforward. All right. Any other questions? So I'm out of questions here. We're done with these. So this is our last chance for those of you on live. And I'll give you a moment because I know there's a little delay between when I talk and when you actually hear me. And then you have to sit there and actually type the message. So while I'm waiting to see if there's any final question from anybody, I want to leave you with a couple thoughts. The really cool news is that no matter how much any of us has struggled with trying to meet our soulmate, no matter how many painful experiences you've had all this time, no matter how old you are at this point in your life, right? No matter what your age might be, this is all healable. And so that you can finally be able to be with your soulmate. You know, I've helped so many people do that, as well as doing it for myself. It's never too late. One common misconception is that, particularly for women, is that they can feel like at past a certain point, it's too late. And there's all these sort of false beliefs around that, where they go, well, you know, I'm 60 and men my age only want to date women in their 40s, and, you know, or, you know, there's so many more women than men, and all this stuff. It's not true. You know, if you clear the same blocks you had before you were 60 or 70 or even 80, you will be in so much of a better shape, so much better emotional shape, that you will be radiant like a beacon to the men around you. You know, who cares if there's twice as many women as men? If you are radiating and glowing in your essence, you will be like, you know, drawing men to you like flies, or women. You know, if you're a man or you're gay or straight or whatever, it doesn't matter. All this stuff applies equally well to straight people, gay people, everything, because the emotional blocks are actually universal. So it applies to everybody. And what's truly the most attractive is somebody who feels good within themselves and feels very comfortable being themselves. That alone is a very attractive quality, and the person who is our match will then see us and go, oh, there you are, and you'll come together. Okay, so I have a final question here. It says, I'm depressed and also and I'm also overweight. Can EFT work for me? So absolutely yes. Again, it's a bit of a big question to try and answer quickly. I have another video called Am I Too X, the letter X, to Find Love? And X means, am I too something, like too overweight, too depressed, or not enough X, right? Like, do I not have enough money, or not a good enough job, or my life's not together, whatever. Lots of people feel that there's this thing in my way that prevents me from finding my soulmate. And it'll be some sort of external thing, like what does my body look like, or, you know, I'm not good looking enough, or, you know, all these different things I mentioned. And none of them are what's really going on. And I can easily prove that, because whatever you think the problem is, you say you're overweight, I bet there are people who are more overweight than you who've met a wonderful partner for themselves. And any negative quality you think you have, I bet there's somebody who has that quality even worse than you do, who did find a really great partner. So what it really comes down to is, when we focus on these traits that we have that we think are problems, like all the examples I gave so far, what's really going on is that deep down, I just don't feel worthy of love. Okay. And then from that place, I started pointing my finger at things. Oh, I weigh too much, or I'm too skinny. I used to be super skinny. I weighed 100. I'm 5'9". I used to weigh 120 pounds. 120 pounds at 5'9". Super skinny. So, you can think of all these different things, but that's not what's really going on. What's really going on is not feeling lovable within ourselves. When we do feel lovable, we become radiant, and we have no trouble attracting people. So the real solution is to look for the things that wounded us, that hurt our self-esteem, that hurt our self-love, and heal those so that we become much more self-loving in a nice, healthy way, which helps us feel much more comfortable being ourselves. We become comfortable in our own skin. We become accepting of ourselves, and we become much more relaxed as we interact with people. And that's very attractive, right? So that's the ultimate solution. That's what we all need to do. And I know it's easier said than done, but the cool thing is with EFT, you can do it, dramatically faster than any way we ever tried to do it before with more traditional therapy. All right. So one comment says, thank you, Stefan. This is so helpful. You are very welcome. I'm really, really glad this is helpful. It is my mission to help every person I possibly can to go through a similar healing journey that I went through that led to me to ultimately find my soulmate. And I want everybody else to be able to go through their healing journey and find their soulmate too. So again, I encourage people to get my free mini course, The 3 Secrets to Attracting Amazing Love, which will go into more detail about those 3 blocks and how to work through them. And I'm also you're very welcome to contact me. I work with people one-on-one and set up a free 20-minute discovery session where we can talk about your situation and see what we can do about it. So just go to my website at singletosoulmate.me. All right. See you guys next month at the next Ask Me Anything about attracting your soulmate. Bye, everybody. Let's see. Last question. How do I get rid of the feeling of not trusting anyone? To heal the experiences that caused you to end up feeling like you couldn't trust anyone, which probably started way back in childhood, but probably has some adult experiences that kind of corroborate that as well. But heal those experiences. And see, when you come from a place of I can't trust anyone, who do you think you draw into your life? If we heal that to get to a place of, yes, I can trust, I'm not going to trust everyone, but that I can trust people, then you'll bring in trustworthy people. That's part of that law of attraction thing I talked about earlier. All right. So that's it. Bye, everybody.